Fonnie Willis. We can talk about it after, but she's suing the commission for more money because she has no money to make the jail safe. I just throw that out for the two of you to grab onto anytime during this show.
Yeah, she was trying to ask for money tomorrow, but I think that might have gotten canceled because of the snow. But I can't wait to see their response. Maybe you should do better with the money you have. I don't know.
Yeah. There was also been I guess on a newscast, a public argument between Chief Judge Glanville and and Rob Pitts and the county commission about who's responsible for the conditions in Rice Street.
Wow.
So that's a whole nother battle going on. I think a lot of people are responsible. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that, but they were going at it.
I did not, but this is, I mean, it's like, how much time do you have when you can delve into the issues with Fulton County? I mean, that jail I've been practicing. I started as a Fulton County public defender. I've been in Fulton County for 20 years, and it's never been good. I mean, it's my husband does civil rights litigation, and we have settled wrongful deaths. We have settled wrongful incarcerations long before the current sheriff and the current DA. So, I mean, the history of that jail, it goes way, way back. It's just Fulton County has massive mismanagement. And I think one of the problems is you've got officers, you've got the sheriff and you've got Fonnie Willis, the DA, who are both saying, I'm a constitutional officer. You can't look at my books. I can do whatever I want with my money. You have to give me money, but I can do whatever I want with it. And neither of them do the right thing. But then they say, well, we need more money. It's your fault because you're not giving us enough money. And like the sheriff, for example, I mean, he's spending money on things left and right that don't have to do with the jail. Well, at some point, the county commissioners have to say, we're not going to go back to our electorate and ask for more money when you're misspending it, when you're not doing the right thing with it. And that's the same thing with Fonnie Willis. They're going to end up playing chicken between the county commissioners and these constitutional officers. But that's the only way that the Board of County Commissioners can hold the purse strings, is saying you have to use the money for the right thing.
But in the meantime, they're having someone like Gotti stay in jail. I call it revenge. I mean, Doug, I mean, I'm just, because I'm Italian, we tend to use those words. I call it revenge. And yet all these people are taking pleas to get out of there. And then Fonnie Willis can say, hey, luxury, look at all the convictions I got. But she didn't really get them the right way. Like, people being guilty of anything.
No, they put them in Rice Street and say, you want to stay here or you want to make a deal? It's your choice. What do you want to do?
It's coercive. It's purely coercive. They fight the bond conditions. Then they plea people out. If people are so dangerous, why are you pleading people out to probation and putting them right back on the street? So they'll speak out of both sides of their mouth. And it's just not the way the system is supposed to work. At least of course, I'm new to it, but it doesn't seem to me like it's supposed to work this way.
No, it's definitely not. It's very unfair. I mean, I don't understand how you can say someone is eligible for probation while at the same time they're not eligible for bond. They're too dangerous to get a bond. And the judges do it. Judge Glanville did it. Like, he would deny a bond, but he would take a probation plea. Yep. I mean, for my client, he denied bond and then he took a probation plea. Like,
that's exactly right.
It's ridiculous. But, one of the things, Doug, when I look at you right there, you remind me of Sean Connery. Right.
Totally.
Right?
Yes.
Now, this is a compliment, right? Totally. Right.
I'll take it.
And Sean Connery, was the first James Bond. Now, speaking about Bond, there has to be a lot happening with the two of you monitoring what's happening with Fonnie Willis, even though I know you're not in the Gotti case right now, Doug. He's represented by great counsel. I think it's Bruce Harvey, isn't it? And
Nicole Westmoreland.
Right? Nicole
Westmoreland. Fantastic counsel.
So, you're all great counsel. That's the thing about this case. It's brought great counsel. But I want to start with the little things, because Doug is reminding me of James Bond. What's happening on the records lawsuits, of which I think there are yours trying to get records, the state legislature trying to get records from Fonnie Willis, and Judicial Watch trying to get Willis. What's happening on that, regard, Ashley?
Yeah, so we're still trying to get records. We're waiting. The judge ruled that we were entitled to records and entitled to attorney's fees, but we still don't have them. And the same thing with Judicial Watch. And Fonnie Willis had a deadline of last Friday. It's my understanding nobody paid anything. And so they're still trying to get those records. There's another lawsuit. I mean, there's another lawsuit that Judicial Watch has, and the problem is the DA's office is just flagrantly disregarding the Open Records Act. And I think what really needs to happen is the Attorney General for Georgia needs to prosecute them. A couple of years ago, they prosecuted another person in the city of Atlanta for violating the Open Records Act, and it was just egregious. I mean, it was to the point it is a crime. It's a crime. It's a misdemeanor. I mean, it's a misdemeanor, but it's still a crime. And we're to the point where they're not taking it responsible. They're not taking it seriously. They're not taking any responsibility. And so the only way is for people to continue these civil lawsuits, which are expensive and time consuming. They take years. And most people can't afford to do that. They couldn't afford to pay a lawyer to do that. So hopefully the Attorney General is going to look into it. But I wouldn't be surprised if more than just the Georgia Attorney General was looking into that office.
Oh, that's going to lead to our elephant in the room. But so what you're saying is that $20,000 has not been paid that the court ordered.
Nope.
That my understanding is that the records, which on your case she said weren't available, are now available, but now she says they're privileged. And that with regard to the state legislature, that's been going up to what? The Court of Appeals?
That is still in the trial court. So there's a couple different sets of records. Ours are still all in the trial court. None of them have gone up to appeal. I mean, she's lost every single one of them, but she has not appealed any of them.
There's a good criminal defense attorney. There's a good attorney that does actually civil attorney sitting right on next to you, sort of on our screen. Look at that. He's like, don't get me involved in this.
Ashley will not toot her own horn, but I think all of us, all the citizens of Fulton County, if not the U.S., really owe Ashley and John a debt for taking this on and doing this battle, because as Ashley said, it is very expensive and most people cannot afford to engage in this. And if you look at all of the wrongdoing, all of the malfeasance that Ashley has uncovered, it's really remarkable. And we're just fortunate. That's all I have to say. And if there's not someone out there fighting this fight, I don't know what else would be going on in Fulton County.
Well, thank you, Doug.
So thank you, Ashley.
It's still shocking. I still get records. And I mean, I got records last week that she had a $2,000 rug made with her emblem on it. I'm like, I think the people who are dying in the Fulton County jail would probably rather that go to, bug spray. I don't know, the person that got eaten alive by bugs than a big fancy record, a big fancy rug with your emblem on it. I mean, it's insane. Record after record of these things that they're doing. I mean, Dexter Bond. So, if you watch the Open Records, Dexter Bond is the Open Records officer. They paid for him to go to a seminar, a CLE, a continuing legal education for wrongful death and negligence in nursing care facilities. I'm like, oh, great. How about an Open Records CLE? Wow. How about you send him to Open Records CLE? Yeah. And I mean, the fact that she's asking for all this additional money, she's got Dexter Bonds, who makes almost $200,000, doesn't actually practice law. She's got Jeff DeSantis, which is her media consultant. He's the second highest paid person after her in that office, makes almost $200,000, doesn't prosecute cases. Why don't you take those people? Then she's got a legal counsel. She's got this lady who's like her legal counsel who doesn't prosecute cases either. So the three highest paid lawyers, none of them prosecute cases. So why don't you take their salaries? That's almost $600,000. And then you wouldn't be so in the hole. You wouldn't need
And you know what, to me, judges can fashion creative remedies. So for example, just like Judge Whitaker in the YSL case ordered the prosecutors in YSL to attend Brady training, which is just humiliating, by the way. I mean, the judge also, in your instances, could certainly fashion remedies that would require them to have proper training. Although I think we all know it's not a training issue, is it? It's it's a philosophy issue.
Oh, they're doing the job they were hired to do, and I'm sure they're being patted on the back for the job they're doing.